Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tasty Trails Travel Pod. Today we're talking about not only one of the most expensive and the most luxurious ingredients, but also one of the most delicious ingredients in the world, truffles. I'm joined by Matteo, a seasoned truffle hunter from Italy, who's been foraging for these prized delicacies since childhood. We'll explore what makes truffles so special, why they're so difficult to cultivate, and how expertly trained dogs help in the hunt. If you've ever been curious about the world of truffle hunting, where these delicious things come from, or just love the rich, earthy flavors of truffles, this episode is for you. So let's go. Ciao, Matteo. Welcome to the podcast.
Ciao. Hello. Nice to be here.
Can you start off by telling people who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
So I'm Matteo. I come from Italy. I live close to Rome, in the countryside southeast of Rome. And since I was little, I started to go to the forest almost every day because in my family, many components of my family were very passionate about forest in general, but in the specific truffle hunting and mushroom hunting. And I grew up doing it, and then it became my full-time job. And now I do it completely full-time for about 12 years.
Oh, that's so amazing. I'm so excited to talk to you because I am obsessed with truffles. They're so delicious, and I've been wanting to go truffle hunting for ages, so I'm excited to learn all about it. Just in case people aren't familiar with truffles, can you explain what truffles are?
Of course, of course. So actually, maybe many people know that truffle is a mushroom. In the specific, it's a symbiotic mushroom. We have two main types of mushrooms in the world. We have parasitic and symbiotic. Usually always tell it to the people because I want people understand why we consider truffles so special and why they are expensive. The symbiotic mushroom is a big group of mushrooms and are those mushrooms that develop a connection with the root of the tree and they exchange nutrients with the plant. These types of mushrooms are very hard to be cultivated because this system developed underground by a mix of many factors that are very hard to be recreated by the people. So in general, symbiotic mushrooms are hard to cultivate, and so they cost a little bit more. So for example, porcini mushrooms, chanterelles, morels, these are all symbiotic mushrooms. Truffles is one of these mushrooms, so it's a symbiotic mushroom, lives always related to a tree. Just the difference is that the truffle is a mushroom that produces the body fruit. The body fruit of the mushroom is actually what we consider the mushroom, what we pick and we eat. That is actually the body fruit of the mushroom. So the truffle is a mushroom that produces always the body fruit underground. Regular mushrooms do the opposite. They produce the body fruit above the ground. So it's a bit harder to find them because we cannot see where they are, and it's essential to have the help of the dogs to find them. The dogs, through the smell, they can find them.
And so how do you train the dogs? I mean, I guess just like you train any dog, but
the dogs need this training. We should say that many years ago, people used pigs. And the reason why people started truffle hunting with pigs is because people discovered the truffles through the pigs, because they love eating truffles. So, there are wild animals that like to eat truffles, and the pig is the animal that like the most the taste of truffle. So someone many years ago saw the pig eating this weird stuff, and a brave guy tried, and they realized, I don't know who was that brave. Yeah, exactly. And so after that, they only knew this way. They took a pig to the forest, and the pig, without any training, because they were very attracted by the truffle smell, would have started digging to find the truffle. But then was you can imagine how complicated it can be to catch the truffle from a hungry pig. So, it was quite complicated. So someone, fortunately, after a while, discovered that the dog was good to do the same work, but after a training. Otherwise, the dogs are not naturally attracted by the truffles. So about the training, they start when they are very young, because the earlier you start, the easier it is to succeed in the training. And usually we start the training when the dogs stop having the milk from the mom. So usually when they are 2 months. And we do it through the game and the reward. So we do simple exercises with the dog, and every time they do well, they receive a reward. For example, the first thing they learn is to bring back the truffle. Like we play with the dog with the truffle in the same way we would play with a ball. So we just launch the truffle. Usually we put the truffle inside something to protect the truffle so the dogs cannot eat, and we start to play with this little ball with the truffle inside, so the dog associate the smell of the truffle to a fun game and plus to the reward. And then slowly we do the game every time a little bit more complicated till they can find only through the smell. And when they become good at home, after a few months, we start taking them out with the expert dogs, and they learn from the expert dogs. It's not that short. I mean, it's something they need to do almost every day. So there is a lot of work behind a truffle dog. And usually they start finding the first truffles by themselves when they are about 1 year old. So the training takes between 6 months to 1 year.
Okay, yeah. And is it always the same kind of dog? Are you breeding them specifically for truffle hunting?
So there is one breed which is the most common one, and it's the only one breed officially certificated as a truffle dog. And this breed is called in English Italian water dog. In Italian is Lagotto Romagnolo. So if you Google truffle dog, the first breed you find is this Italian water dog, which is a curly dog, and it looks like a poodle. Yeah, they're very cute. But many dogs can be, I mean, all the dogs have the smell to feel the truffle. So in theory, you can train any type of dog. Just, of course, we selected breeds that we noticed they are very talented for this type of game of work, But the talent doesn't depend by the smell of the dog. It's more about their character and their way to move in the forest. It's hard to explain. Let's say that we look specific characteristics in the dogs. For example, even very practical stuff like the size of the dog, because usually when we do truffle hunting we have many dogs, so big dogs, usually truffle hunters don't like big dogs because are expensive to feed too many big dogs or to fit in the car. So also we like resistant dogs that can work long time and not get sick easily or having some disease or joint problem. So usually the medium-sized dogs are the best about it, and then dogs that like the hunt or the research. Yeah, they like to play. That's important.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how long is usually the career span of a truffle dog?
It depends by the dog. I would say that the average is about 12 years old.
Oh wow.
But there are dogs that can go over this age and other dogs that stop earlier. That it depends a lot by the health of the single dogs. They would never stop. They love this and they would never stop.
And so what's like a typical outing like when you're going to hunt truffles?
So, like let's say professional hunters, when we go out, we usually go out in the early morning, but this is mostly important in summertime because the dogs don't handle too much the heat. But in general, we like to go out early. We do truffle hunting in public forest in Italy. So 90% of the truffle hunting in Italy happens in public forest, and we have a license to do it. But once you have the license, you can mostly go anywhere in Italy. So everyone has his own favorite area, secret spots. Let's say we are very jealous about the spots because the spots probably is the most important. Of course, the dog also is very important. This the experience and the skills of the dogs, but also to know very well the spots is very important. So people are very, very jealous of the spots, and we always try to not share with other people, other truffle hunters, of course. And so everyone goes to his spot. Through the experience, we understand the best spot at the best time. And usually we go out for at least 3 hours. But if the day is good and in the worst, we can also go for the whole day. And it's actually a hike, depending by the type of truffle, the hunt can be slower or faster, but it's actually a hike. It's basically a hike in the forest, and we just walk and we try to guide the dogs where we believe it's better for finding truffles, and we are out in the middle of the mountain for the whole day.
So like what's a good if you have like a good day? Is it super common to find them every time that you go out, or
Yeah, good question. So it depends a lot by the type of truffles. People know black and white truffles, but actually the truffles that we look for and that we commercialize are 9 types. There are 7 types of black truffles and 2 types of white truffles. So depending by the type, they are more or less rare. So it depends a lot by the type. So for example, the black summer truffle is the most common one, and the good hunter can be able to find in a day, in a hunt, even 4 or 5 kilos. It's not like something that happens every day, but in a special hunt, in a good hunt, you can even find that amount. Other type of truffle, for example, the most rare one is the white truffle, and the white truffle is much more hard to find. And I would say that it can happen that you go out the whole day and you find nothing, or like a good day can be 300, 400 grams, 500 grams is already a great day for a white truffle. So it really depends. And also this justify the price of the different types. Depending by the rarity, they are more or less expensive.
yeah, that makes sense. And when they're sold, so when you see just like a black truffle, can the average person tell the difference between like, oh, this is, whatever one of the seven are? Because yeah, I just see them as black and white. Does it make a huge difference?
I mean, from the look, you cannot tell the truffle. Like there are truffle that they look perfectly the same. So like let's say if you see a truffle in a picture, you cannot tell the type, because to identify the type, there are different details that can tell you the difference, the smell, and also it's very important to see the color inside the truffle. So for example, expert hunters, through the smell, we can immediately tell the precise types. Otherwise, to identify the type, you have to open the truffle and to see the details inside, because truffles inside have veins, and they can be more thick or more thin. They can be more dark or brown or black. And this tells you the difference between the different types. But then all the truffles have their period. So, for example, we know that like in summertime, you would never find a white truffle because it's not time, you know. So even by the season, we can guess which type of truffle it is, because we cannot find like summer truffle in winter time, for example.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I was going to ask you about the seasons because yeah, I thought it was just like there was a few months or like 2 months of the year you could go truffle hunting. Maybe that's just for tourists. I don't know. But so is it a year-round thing just because of the different species, or when is truffle season?
Yeah, it's actually all year long. Many people believe it's only autumn or a few season, a short season during the year, but actually no. The good thing of truffle is that in every season we have at least one type to find and commercialize. And in a good year, if the weather is good, if the conditions are good, we never stop to look for truffle and to work and commercialize truffles, because it's a product that we can find all year round.
Oh, that is great to know.
Yeah, yeah, I know many people don't know it.
Yeah, that's really, really good to know. And are there like any specific traditions or anything that kind of go, I know this dates back a little while. I don't know. Have there been any traditions around kind of going out and hunting truffles in Italy, or not really?
See, I mean, truffle hunters are not that many. It was always a closed world. Like people are very jealous of this knowledge and activity. So, it's something still hidden. But of course, there are more than tradition. I mean, the real tradition of truffle probably is in only one region, that is Umbria, is a region in Italy where truffle hunting started many years ago, and probably it's the only one region where many people know about truffle, and they know how to cook, how to, mostly of the people living there, they let's say they have truffle in their traditional recipes, let's say. But in all the other regions, no, it's mostly something special that people only eat in when they go to a nice restaurant or for some special occasion. But it's not a food that is, let's say, we can call traditional. And it's also because truffle, people eat truffles and consider truffles good and look for truffles. I mean, like hunt truffles for not so many years. It's something quite recent, probably about 100 years.
Okay, got it. And so, yeah, you were mentioning the secrecy around it. So then, generally, as information gets passed down, that's mostly just staying within families, and it just kind of becomes a generational thing. Is that kind of how it evolves and continues on?
Yeah, exactly. So usually something comes from the family because since people are so jealous about it, people don't share to anyone. And especially before, it usually was something you got from your family. So in my case, I learned from my dad, then he learned from my grandfather. So, it's something that I have in my family. And most of the times, truffle hunters learn it from the family. Now it's a little bit easier because with internet, you can easily
Yeah.
catch more information. But still, it's not easy without a real guide because the time you have to invest training the dogs, and when you don't have a guide you fail 1,000 times because of success in the hunting. So many people start and give up, but then so you need a lot of patience. In the end you need a lot of patience, you have to fail many times, and then in the end you can I know people who started truffle hunting by themselves. They didn't have anyone in the family and they succeed. So it's not
Cool.
impossible but not easy. Yeah.
So as far as are you familiar with truffle hunting in like other countries? Or is there like less secrecy amongst if you talk to people in like France or Slovenia or something, because you're not really competing over the like land, or I don't know, like how does the culture compare?
Yeah, it's very different in every country. In Italy, as I told you before, truffle hunting 90% of the times happen in public forest. So there is more competition because it's in the wild and hard to control. So there are not many controls. And France is different. France has not the natural production that Italy has. So it's very localized in few areas. So they mostly privatized everything. So it's very different. I don't even know if they have a national law about truffle, for example, and I know that they still use pigs often. So probably because they find it in their private property. For example, in Italy, it's forbidden to use pigs, even though people would like to still go with pigs, but it's forbidden. So France is very different, but France doesn't have many truffles. It has a long tradition, but not so many truffle in nature. The countries that produce the most amount of truffle, the highest amount of truffles after Italy are the countries in the eastern of Europe. So the Balkans and Greece, nobody knows it, not even local people in these countries know, mostly of them. But actually about maybe 20, 30 years ago, Italians went to these countries to look for new spots for virgin areas. And in the end, the result was that they found so many truffles, and now local people learn. So now we get many truffles from these countries in Italy. So in these countries, for sure, now in the area where they find truffles, for sure there is competition. It's a bit different because it's still there are still virgin area in these countries.
Oh wow, I had no idea. That's really, really interesting. So, I mean, a lot of that kind of the jealousy culture does just come from them being worth so much money and like being so rare.
Yeah, I mean, the jealousy for sure is just related to the money
Okay.
because truffle is a valuable product. So of course, if you are able to find truffles, you're able to find money. It's always easy to sell truffles. It's not something that it's once you have you don't know how to sell. There is more demand than production of truffle, so it's always easy to sell. So if you're able to find truffle, you are able to find money, and that's why people become so jealous and sometimes mean because there are people who don't behave very, very good.
I have heard rumors about that. Can you give people an idea of like how much a truffle would cost then?
It depends a lot. For example, if we talk about Italy or we talk about other countries, because the price, of course, change so much depending by the country. So in Italy, we have the cheapest price of truffles in the world, and
Because there's the most.
because we produce the most. Yeah.
Yeah.
See. So we have the highest production here. And I mean, when you buy truffle in US, you pay also all the process of the exportation, the taxes and all these stuff, and the prices can be easily double or 3 times more than the Italian price. So in Italy, black truffles, let's say in general, the cheapest truffles go for minimum 150, 200 per kilo, sorry, and the most expensive black truffles are up to 1,000 euros per kilo. White truffle can cost, that is very variable depending by the season, can cost from 2,000 per kilos till sometimes can be easily 5,000 per kilo or more.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can imagine in US or other countries it can be easier, more expensive. So it's it's a bit crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. I went to the World Truffle Fair. Oh, where was it? It was right outside Torino. What the heck?
Alba, maybe.
Yeah, in Alba. Yeah. I just took the train out for the day from like Milan and went, and it was amazing. I was like, oh, maybe I'll buy like a really teeny tiny one. And then I saw the price. I was like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, very expensive. That is probably the festival where the truffles cost the most, the highest.
I was in heaven. There are so many delicious like products and stuff. I actually wanted to talk to you about that as well because I know there's a lot of fake truffle on the market. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, of course. They discovered, I actually don't know when, they discovered how to get the smell of the truffle, let's say, in a chemical process. So it's actually a molecule. The truffle has a molecule that gives to the truffle this particular smell, and they find this molecule also in other components, like in the benzene, for example. And so they get this molecule and they make this concentrated aroma. And mostly of the products that you find in the groceries or anywhere have this aroma inside to give the taste and to improve the taste. What happened with this, that also many restaurants put this strong aroma in the dishes to give more taste, even though they use also the good truffle and they put fresh truffle, they all still add this aroma, because mostly of the people got to know truffles through this aroma, because of course it's much cheaper and much more accessible for everyone. So the thing is that now people believe truffle is something so strong, so aggressive in taste, and many people expect this from truffle, but actually natural truffle are not like this at all. They are very delicate, they're very, the truffle taste is very mild. It's something you need to know how to eat, because it's easy to cover the truffle taste. And I make you an example. You eat white truffle, you pay a dish of pasta, you can easily pay more than $100 for a dish of pasta, a small pasta with white truffle. And the smell is impressive, it's great. But once you put the truffle and the pasta in your mouth, the taste completely disappear. And maybe, many people don't understand I'm paying so much just to have this smell. And actually it's like that. Yeah.
So you think it's probably hurting the industry in the sense that like now people's expectations are just totally unrealistic about what an actual truffle is supposed to taste like.
Yeah, for sure. The smell of the truffle is really impressive. When you store truffles in your refrigerator, the smell is so strong over every type of truffle. But the taste is very mild. So, and many people don't know it, and they expect something so strong. But once you try the real truffle, if you have a good palate, then you start loving it. So there are people who maybe get disappointed because they expect something so strong,
Yeah, well, and I heard that I don't know what the statistic is, but like it's a really high number of like when you think you're eating truffle, like 95% of the time, like you're not actually eating a real truffle. And even the like shavings on top, there's like a different kind of mushroom that like mimics it, that like looks like it. So they'll put the fake oil and stuff as well as the fake.
But when they shave, it's for sure it's a truffle. It's usually, I don't know if they ever shaved something which is not a truffle, but there is a lot of, for example, a Chinese truffle. Chinese truffle is a type of truffle which is not that valuable, and they serve in many restaurants in the world as Italian truffle or French truffle, but it's a different type and much less valuable, but they charge a lot because nobody would understand the difference, and then they put the aroma and they give the taste with that. There are many of these tricks in the world in the restaurants.
So how can people, is there a way to know if it's a real truffle or not? Or not really?
Very hard. Very hard. I mean, there are many ways, but you need to experience, to eat truffles often, to smell, to know really a lot. For example, I traveled to Korea. I saw fresh truffle on the menu. I saw the price was too cheap compared to the fresh truffle that we had in Italy at that time. And then my friend ordered the truffles, and I realized it was the Chinese one. But I figured about it because I know how much the truffle in every week they cost in the world market, and so that dish was too cheap. But you really need to be expert, otherwise it's very hard to understand. Of course, you can understand if there is the aroma in the dish. This you can understand, but this you just need to eat the fresh truffles, and then you can experience the difference, and then you learn how to recognize. But you need to eat fresh truffles.
What would if it was a real truffle, I mean, I know that it changes and depends on a lot of things, but in general, like what's the minimum like a plate of pasta would cost if it's got a real truffle in it?
It depends by the type. So it really depends by the type. The minimum with summer truffle in Italy, a dish can cost even maybe 15 euros, the cheapest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but with summer truffle, which is cheap, and with white truffle, it cannot cost less than 50, 60 euros, I would say. The cheapest is that. Yeah, otherwise easily over 100.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And what are some of the best like ways to eat truffles?
For sure are the simple ones, because a truffle is something delicate, as I was saying before. So the most common is like simple pasta. Usually we use either butter or olive oil. And actually we use more olive oil with black truffles and more butter with white truffles. And then something super common in Italy is egg. So you can either make a fried egg or a poached egg, or let me see, yeah, poached egg, fried egg, omelette with truffle. That's great, and it's the easiest and the best for sure. Fresh cheese can match good with truffle, so like mozzarella or burrata, or like cheese with mild taste. And let me think. Well, simple things, like even pizza can be good. A strong taste cover the truffle. So, for example, you cannot use chili pepper or cheese too strong in taste. But if you have some fantasy, you can you can pair with truffle. Everything has a mild taste. So, for example, I tried to make sushi at home, and I put truffle on sushi without wasabi, of course, because otherwise it's too strong. But just a raw fish with rice and truffle, it's
Oh my
good.
God. It was good.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. So I mean,
That's
for sure
amazing.
there are many experiments also to do. Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've experimented with, or like with a truffle?
I don't know if it's the craziest, but it's something that I learned actually by coincidence by a Russian client. So this is a very expensive way to eat truffle. That's why probably it's not common at all, but I think it's the best. So like just to shave a truffle on a dish, put some olive oil, salt, and maybe a little bit of black pepper or just olive oil and salt, and eat the truffle as a salad. Of course, a dish of white truffle like this would cost like 1,000 euros, but it's really delicious. And when I have truffle and I want to do it, I do by myself. For me, it's easier. For me, it's easier because I find.
Oh my God. Oh, your life. That's amazing. Yeah. How often are you eating truffles like in your day-to-day life?
Not often, because I do these truffle events and experiences almost every day. So I cook truffles for people almost every day, and I'm a bit tired of truffles. So I mean, I eat in a special occasion, or maybe 3 times a year. I really avoid truffles because I smell truffles every day. I work with truffle every day. I still like, but I don't eat often.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and I wanted to talk to you about the different experiences that you offer. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so it's I started about 10 years ago to organize these days that then in the end we call truffle experiences. And basically in these days we take groups of people out to the forest and we do a real truffle hunting. People experience what is a real truffle hunt with the dogs. And it's about 2 hours in the forest hiking and looking for truffles. And after that, we moved to my place where we organize the lunch for the people and we cook in front of the people so people can also learn how to cook and how to prepare. You know, it's something very intimate. Big groups are not that big. And people can then enjoy this lunch made by 7 truffle courses, everything, wine, and all our local products and are included in the lunch. It's a very abundant lunch. And then we stay together till the afternoon.
Oh my God, that sounds like the perfect day. That's amazing.
You are invited next time you are in Italy.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I try to get to Italy as often as possible. So yeah, I definitely count me in. Well, Matteo, thank you so much for chatting with us about truffles. This was like well, it made me really hungry. But there is a question that I ask everybody that comes on, and that would be, what would your last meal be?
In my life? Good question. I'm not prepared to this question. Let me think. For sure, wine. A lot of wine.
Like a true Italian, yeah, good.
Yeah, I mean, something I cannot live without is the wine. And then about food, I would say maybe a good dish of pasta and a Fiorentina steak.
Ah, okay. What kind of pasta?
Maybe porcini mushrooms. Fettuccine with porcini is I love it so much.
No truffles?
No, not truffle. Too many truffle in my life.
All right, he's like, enough's enough.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. How can people find you, look up and sign up for your truffle experiences and connect with you?
People can find me on my website and they can find all the information about the truffle experience. So matteo-truffles.com. And otherwise on my Instagram, and my Instagram is Matteo_truffles.
And I'll make sure to link everything in the description so people can easily like click on it as well. Yeah. So yeah, grazie mille.
Thank you so much. I wait you in Italy.
Yes, can't wait. Can't freaking wait.
Okay, I don't know about you guys, but now I'm like really hungry. I think about truffles on a very regular basis, so this was a really fun episode for me. Matteo's stories really brought the magic of this tradition to life. And yeah, now I gotta go get myself some fake truffle oil. If you know someone who loves truffles as much as you do and I do, make sure to share this episode with them. Share and tag on Instagram. Would love to hear what you think. Have you been on a truffle hunt before? And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the follow button so you don't miss out on more delicious conversations. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you back here next week. Bye. Did you love this episode and are inspired to pack your bags? I offer 30-minute consultation calls for select destinations to give you the confidence in planning your international trip. I can help you with your itinerary, logistics, cultural norms, and so much more. It's an easy and affordable way to get professional insights while still planning your own adventure. Check out the link in the description to book or head to tastytrailstravel.com to learn more. Bye.